Okay. Once again, for those who joined late, I'm Nitin Aggarwal, CEO and founder of Property Deals Insight. In today's session, we want to be focusing on how can you find, analyze, and package deals. So I've got a mix of property investors, property sourcers. Some of you guys are new to investments, others are kind of seasoned professionals, and also a lot of you have been asking on how you can actually go direct to vendor using the platform. I mean, I think the current economic climate, the interest rates are high, but equally, what we're also seeing is there's a lot of deals out there in the market, and it's almost turning into a good buyer's market. So there's a lot of activity on people who are sitting on cash or are able to do direct to vendor deals. So we'll try and cover some of those things today. All right. So our platform covers, so in a nutshell, we kind of are one of the most powerful platforms in the UK, providing you in-depth access or in over 30 million UK homes. What we've done is we've got the data from all trusted data sources and put it together and build a number of tools so that it makes life simple for you. So in a nutshell, you can find and analyze any property in seconds. There are a number of tools which we're going to be going through. One of them is Deal Finder. Everybody kind of in the industry wants to be finding deals. But I think what we'll also do is give a bit of a backstory on why we started and everything. And I'll try and be quick. Basically, this platform was originally started or created. At that point, it wasn't even a platform, it was actually a back pocket utility for myself. So I started my journey coming from a technology corporate background, and I was always investing in property. I've been doing that for about 15 years now. But yeah, I mean, at that time, I was like, okay, I wanted something which can actually help me identify where can I make the next investment, can help me do my due diligence. So I created a small sort of a utility for helping me find deals. But I realized there's actually a lot of people facing similar challenges, and that's where we kind of decided to launch it as a platform. And today, as I said, we're kind of the most powerful platform in the country. We're backed by the world's largest VC fund in Second Century Ventures, and some of you might know about DocuSign. We had the same portfolio as them now. All right, and we have been publishing a number of other media outlets, which you can also find us about us. What we will do is we'll try and cover, so within the platform, we've actually got a number of tools, as I said, which are focused around investors and small businesses. So what we'll do is we'll focus on initially the investor features, and then how you can scale that and take it to the next level for your business. And I think if possible, we might even get some of our existing customers to share some of their feedback. But I think I'd like to share a couple of case studies where we've had some of our recent customers and the success they've had with the platform. Right, okay then. So once you basically click on the login button, by the way, I've had it in the previous demos where I've kind of finished the demo and somebody says, what's the link of your website? So here it is in the chat. I'm actually going to be sending that to the audience. So if you guys want to be opening in the website, so it's the link is in the website. And if you actually click on the login button or start free trial, it will take you to the actual platform backend. So I've just logged in myself to try and save time. What you will see when you get in is we got the platform split into the property investor section, which is focusing on things which investor needs and even property sources. However, then we've also got features which are used by agents to acquire stock, and these are actually also used by smaller agents or property sourcing agents and other people who are looking to grow their portfolio very, very quickly. So we will be touching on both aspects. And if you guys have any specific questions or interest on any of the tools, please keep putting it in the chat, and we can make sure we focus our attention a little bit more on those aspects. Right. So as you join the platform, I mean, we basically give access to all our customers with a 14-day free trial. So essentially that allows you to play around with the different features, and you can then see what plan is actually right for you. Accordingly, you can actually use those features and stay on the plan which works for you. So let's focus on the investor plan, given it's an investor session. So I think when you're looking to find deals, one of the first things everybody needs to look at is kind of where do you start finding the properties in terms of what location. Location is also key. And what we've done is we've gonna build some of the quick tools. I'm gonna try and run through this quickly because some of these tools are pretty simple and straightforward. We've got things like heat maps. It's pretty bog standard. What it does is it actually gives you a heat map and an idea on where you can find the most highest yielding investment opportunities across the country. So you don't have to be limited to your local areas if you don't know other areas. So this allows you to look through all of them, whether you're looking for the cheapest or the most expensive properties in the country, and whether you want to looking at the rental rates or which are across the country and where the growth hotspots are. So you can actually use this in fairly quickly. I think this is pretty bog standard. You can actually go in, and this part of the platform is is actually free, so you can go and have a look, play with the platform. It's pretty interactive, and you can see which areas are actually having the highest yield versus the others, and then you can also look at either if you want to search for a specific location, you can do that as well. But you can actually say where you got the highest yielding hotspots. Some of these names, towns may be popular, but then others which are less popular are where you can actually a lot of times grab a bargain where otherwise you find a lot of competition. Right. I mean, you can do the flick through the tabs, but I'm going to quickly jump back to the other one because I've got a lot of features to cover. And if any questions, feel free to chuck them in the chat. Okay, going back in here, ultimately, once you know the location, it's also quite important. Fine, the location is fine, but ultimately, everybody's looking for the properties and how do you find deals? And that's one of the key things in there. So what we did was we actually built our tool called Deal Finder. And to keep it simple, we couldn't think of any other name, so we just called it Deal Finder. And basically, what it does is helps you finding the deals and source the deals quickly. Right. What ultimately happens is within, I mean, ultimately, depending on what strategy you use, a lot of people mentioned, actually, I saw somebody saying BRR. So effectively, what we've done is we've actually categorized this into popular sourcing strategies, which the experts have been using for years. And what you can now do is come in here, select what strategy works for you, whether you're looking for auctions, whether you're looking for repossessions, short lease properties, deal breakdown, where basically is a good opportunity to come in, chain free. I mean, there are a whole bunch of strategies which can actually allow you to find the properties of your matching your strategy. So let's just look for BRR, which is a typical one everybody uses, and there's kind of the same old way of how you can actually leverage out some cash. What you can do is within the platform, just simply go in, enter BRR. You can also select the sourcing type in here as well, and also in the previous screen, and then should enter any location. I'm gonna put let's just put Liverpool. So you can either choose a postcode or the town or basically location, and you can specify minimum maximum values. I personally like to leave this blank. You can also specify the property types and then the search radius, which is basically how many miles are you willing to travel for the right property. So if I just make it 10 miles for the sake of this demo, and then it searches through all the data which we pull together from across on and off market. And this what that does is it actually shows you all the listings out there, and I kind of think of it as layers of onion. So effectively, when I'm looking at an investment property, I'm looking at, okay, let's have a look at things which are ticking certain boxes. And then we'll start looking at drilling down further and further what actually ticks my criteria. So what it does is it kind of quickly gives you an idea on properties which are available. It shows you up to roughly around 100 results each time when you search. And you can also sort by any properties which have been reduced and have been in the market. So this is, again, depending on how you look or source properties, you can actually, sometimes people can actually go after properties which have been in the market for long, and you have a good chance to negotiate with the vendor in that cases. So if I just pick one of these, what it does is actually kind of provides a second level of analysis on the property, and you can basically come in here and it shows you the buy-to-let analysis. So it basically does the maths for you. And let's just pick another one just randomly. Well, maybe this one. So effectively, what all we're really doing is it basically allows you to get through the details of the property. It shows you the ROI, yield, etc. And what we do is we basically, as I said, we are like a data company, so we basically are able to pull all the data which is required for you to do the analysis, so you don't have to do it. But we have our own algorithms, like our valuation engine, our rental valuations, local costs, etc., and also put in some standard variables. But these calculations are actually pretty dynamic. So if you think, for instance, it takes into account things like property maintenance and management fee. If you think you're doing a self-management, and how will it change? So you can actually put that at 0, and it dynamically straight away changes and shows you the numbers and how that actually changes your ROI on the property. And you can also play with interest rate scenarios. Obviously, that changes, it seems like every month or so. So you can actually change this and say what happens if this interest rates go up to 6%, for instance, or 7%, or it reduces. So that kind of gives you an indication of how much cash you'd have remaining in the deal over time, and also gives you the local area analysis in terms of the comparable prices. And one of the other things, which I think somebody said they wanted to go direct to vendor. So what we do is we give you the ability to also actually find full address for the properties. And if you basically see this button which says reveal full address, you click that button and boom, it actually gives you full address of that property listings which is available. So what that allows you to do is, ultimately it depends on everybody's strategy. Some people like to work directly with vendors, and they want to be kind of knocking the doors or doing a leaflets, etc., or sending a letter, depending on how far you are from that property, or whether it's in your neighborhood. But this allows you to actually try and get in touch with the vendors directly to try and secure a deal, and you can actually get out of the competition with everybody else. But this is for on-market properties, but I'll show you it later on in the session how you can do this in bulk on off-market properties with motivated vendors as well, right? So with the analysis which we have, you can actually obviously do that for yourself, but if you wanted to actually share it with your JV partner or any investors which you have, or basically any of your friends, etc., you can create a quick link about the deal analysis for this property, and it can also have you can generate it as a PDF branded as well, right? I'm going to share that link in here. What that does is simply, because PDI is a paid platform, so only you can access it. But if you wanted to share these deals, you can actually just do one click, and it will allow you to share it with any of your partners, or for them to have a look at it. And if you're a sourcer who's trying to actually share it with their investors, and they might say, actually, I want to see it, how it changes, what are the best case, worst case scenarios, sort of thing. What you don't want to be doing is fiddling with Excel sheets forever and ever and have time wasters waste all of your time. But with the PDI, all you do is change these numbers, press the share button, boom, it actually creates a snapshot view. So you can say if the rent is 725, it's this much. If you actually manage to convert it into a HMO, and let's just say you have a 1200 rent or something, then that allows you to show them that view just by a click of a button, and you can press the share button, and boom, they have both scenarios shared with them. Right. So you basically, I think it's quite simple to do it. Well, and in the past, and I think Ed, when you were here, I don't think we had the export option. A lot of people have been asking for it. So now we do have the export option. So if you think there are too many deals for you to look at, you can always do export these deals to have a look at it later. And it's as simple as that, really. I mean, there are different strategies. I'm not going to open every single one of these to show you, but we've basically plugged into all portals and everything. So you basically don't have to be going around looking on different portals. You have it all on a platform, whether it's Rightmove, whether it's Zoopla, and basically you can also list your own deals, by the way. So if you have any deals which you wanted to share with other investors, you can also actually make them available within our platform, so other investors who are serious can actually come and chat to you directly. Right. Going back on on this, this is the piece which I was mentioning, the deal packs. So effectively, if you wanted to actually create deal packs, you can add your own listings, have it white label. So you want to create, I mean, a small businesses, a lot of times our customers saying we're actually starting in, or are a seasoned investor, but we're thinking of starting sourcing or have already started sourcing, but I don't want to be breaking the bank to create a lot of infrastructure, and also equally, people are not taking me seriously. What you can actually do is very simply come in here, press a few buttons, get your listings added, whether it's for sale listings, whether it's rent to rent listings or development listings or GDVs. You can do it all on PDI. So all you do is just add some details, add your own pictures, videos, everything you can add in here, and it would create your own interactive deal packs, which you can brand and white label with your own nice branding and colors, and share with other people so they can actually take you seriously and saying these companies are using the latest tech. And also you can co-brand it with PDI, so effectively showing that this data is backed by a nation's one of the top companies in terms of data and insights. All right, I'm not going to do the listings, and I think it's pretty bog standard. If you need any help on how to create these deal packs, we also have resources and step-by-step tutorials on how to do it. But I think it's simply a case of filling these forms, and it's just, yeah, as simple as that. Right. Going back on the deal packs, yeah, I think, sorry, very quickly, I mentioned about the branding. So effectively, as some of you guys may be business customers. So effectively, one of the things which I wanted to actually show you was you can come in here and add your own branding. So I'll also show you some examples of how our customers are actually using it. I think Simon's with us here today as well. I'm gonna quickly share that in the end. But yeah, I think I'll show you how they are using it. Your Home Manager is one of our other customers who are basically doing it for using it for their property management and estate agency business as well. But what you can do is within here, come in, add your branding, choose your colors, and it's as simple as that. Basically, that allows you to create your own branded deal packs. So when you are creating these reports, which I just clicked on earlier, as we were looking at one of those properties, you can actually add your own logo in here. You can even customize some of this stuff and show them the full analysis for that property. And if you are going to be creating the deal packs, then obviously it will be showing as marketed by you. But because I actually try to share one of the other properties from another agent, that's why it's showing like that. But it nicely shows all the ROI numbers, and so which can be shared with your JV partners or for finance purposes or even for any investors which you have. And it kind of showcases that you're getting the data from all trusted data sources, helps you get customer trust, and they want to be doing business with you. Any questions on this? Please feel free to put it in the chat. I think there was a question which I just noticed from Charlotte regarding how the end property value is done for the BBR. And basically, I think, well, that's actually a good point. I almost forgot about the valuation side of things. One of the other things in terms of whenever we're looking at deals is and negotiating whether it's below market value or not. I think the first thing is always about identifying what the true value of a property is. And this is where we are really handy. We actually provide this for throughout the country to even estate agents. People kind of say estate agents tell you the valuation, but they basically use some of our data as well to give you comparisons, to give you the valuation of the properties. We have our own price per meter square bespoke algorithms, which are industry leading and are being used by some of the largest organizations, and basically have been published in the likes of Negotiator and others as being better than Zoopla, although they don't like to believe that, but the facts remain. So what you can do is within here, you can simply come in here, key in the details of any property. So this is where you can actually evaluate any property in the country, 30 million. I wouldn't say every property, but 30 million, pretty much all of the properties in the UK. All you have to do is come in here, put in the details of the property, postcode and everything, and it kind of auto-populates a lot of the fields, gives you property valuation, local comparisons. Let's just actually very quickly do one. So come in here, put in any postcodes. I'll just pick what I have in my drop downs. What it does is shows you the addresses. And as you select the address, it actually automatically selects the internal area of the property. So we are linked to the likes of Ministry of Housing, EPC databases, etc., which happens to have generally the most accurate, up-to-date information in terms of internal areas of the properties. We come across so many clients who themselves don't know how big their properties are, but it's a good sort of a starting point in terms of if you're unsure of what the property internal area is. And once you select that, you can actually come in here. If you, for instance, just on the topic of internal area, if you think the property has been extended recently, so which hasn't been updated in records, you can always come and update it and say, okay, have we added 10 square meter or 5 square meter or 50 square meter for the sake of argument, but I'll go back to what the system came back with. Select the property type, number of bedrooms in the property. And I think somebody had asked the question in terms of valuations. So our valuation algorithm is very, very unique because a lot of our clients are looking at what is the current value of the property. And also, if you want to identify what is the done up value of the property, you can actually use this in a certain way. So effectively, if I was to say the property currently is in a rundown condition and it's got 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, and it's 100 square meter, and it will give you the evaluation on that basis. However, if you also go back and say, actually, I'm going to do this property up, and the property will be converted into a I don't know, a semi-detached property or a terrace or whatever that property type is. But you're adding 2 more bedrooms and you're adding 1 extra bathroom. There's an extra reception because you're doing the extension, and it's going to have 2 parking spaces, and it's actually going to be in an excellent condition after that. And there may or may not be a garage space, and with some what sort of outdoor space it covers. So it allows you to actually also get an idea on what the property price would be. Obviously, it's subject to when you eventually get the job done, but it would give you a pretty good idea on what the going rate for that area would be if you're doing a certain amount of work to that property. I hope that sort of answers the question, but if anything, we can address that towards the end again. So this is how you can pull up a property valuation report. It shows you the property valuation, the local area price per meter square as well, which is quite important because you want to understand it from the perspective of what the going rate in that area is. And then it also looks into the salient features of the property, whether it's got in a rundown condition, whether it's got a parking space, has it got a garage, does it come with an average or a smaller garden or large garden, all these things which can allow you to differentiate between the property valuation from one to the other. And it also shows you the rental valuation, yield confidence, etc. It gives you similar properties in the area, so you can actually see what else is on the market currently and when they were listed, how far they are from this property. Same thing for rentals as well. So you can actually look at the graphical or rental trends in terms of what the rental prices in this area are, allows you to obviously do a comparison. So if I'm looking at a property, I'm trying to put an offer or something far up north, which I don't know that much of, I'm going to come in here, get the appraisal report. So these are all facts in terms of the similar properties and rental properties. This is what is on the market currently. So we are able to show you that data. And you can also see the land registry data. So we have the land registry data here combined with EPC system, house price indices system, etc., which allows you to see what the selling prices of other properties which were sold recently. So the one last over here is on the 18th May, and what the internal area of that property was, what the price per meter square for all of these properties was. So that gives you a pretty good idea to allow to negotiate and compare. A lot of times what happens is when you're trying to put down an offer on a certain property, you'd say, oh, my 10 houses down the street, somebody sold it for 750, for instance. And they haven't got a clue what the actual property might be internally. They just know that somebody sold a property on the street at this price. But if you then can actually say, look, I mean, this property is 50 square meter bigger or smaller, then you can that allows you to have a better negotiation with some of these clients. And you also have EPC information here, cash flow information, which we were looking at is also there. And if you wanted to do some flip analysis, that's also something you can do in here. And again, you can share the reports as previously shared, and it allows you to share. You can pick and choose what you want to share with them as well. If you don't want to share a certain section, you can actually choose to do that. I'm not going to kind of open every single tab over here because I want to jump quickly to the interesting stuff, which is around how can you get direct to vendor? How can you actually find all these motivated vendors? So I think that would be something I'd like to try and quickly jump to. Any questions on this, feel free to stick it in the chat and we'll try and either cover it today or we'll always come back if we can't cover everything today. Right. Also, one interesting thing which I actually think might be useful for you guys is if you do have other properties which you kind of, let's say you didn't find it on our platform, but you basically had something which was on Rightmove or Zoopla. In the past, we've always been just showing Zoopla properties, and I think maybe Ed, you possibly remember that. So we always used to just show Zoopla properties. However, now we kind of cover both Rightmove and Zoopla, which means we've got more than twice the stock which we used to have. And if I now literally just now opened another Rightmove property on my screen here on Rightmove. So what you can actually do is simply come in here, and if you want to do a deal analysis, stick the link in here, press submit button, and hopefully this should come back with some response very quickly. Yep. There you go. So what it can do is it can literally quickly analyze that property which you just saw online, and you can actually see whether or not it's I don't think this is a great investment opportunity, but I think bottom line is you can actually do the quick analysis and rule out if something is not for you, for instance. And the same thing applies for if you want to be actually looking at identifying area. And so there are a whole bunch of tools which I don't want to go through in every single one, but you can have a simple buy to let calculator if you want, free tools like these area insights, which can tell you how a certain area is doing. We looked at Liverpool in the past. Let's just pick, or you know what, I think I'll leave this one because it's going to take too much time. But you can also use the same link sort of thing in here and chuck in a link from Rightmove or Zoopla. And if we can identify the full address of the property, you can actually get the full address and you will be able to get in touch with vendors directly in that case if you wanted to. We have about 70-ish% coverage of the overall market properties, so roughly about a million plus on market properties we have the full addresses for, which is yeah, I think it's quite a decent hit rate in that way. So I think these are most of the things which I wanted to cover for the basic investor features. But I wanted to now see if anybody's interested to identify if you wanted to go in bulk and actually get in touch with these vendors and directly and say, okay, I want to get access to all these people who are struggling to sell their properties, or actually I want to be talking to these landlords who have been trying out to sell or let out their property through agents, but I want to actually propose a guaranteed rent or a rent-to-rent solution to them. However, everybody I talk to, they just reject my proposal. So anybody facing that, I think that's something which there was a mention in the chat earlier on around somebody looking for R2SA. Yeah, I think it was a Wick, right? Okay. Yeah. So also just before I go, I'll say a question from Manish regarding back to market. Actually, back to market is one of the strategies in the deal finder. So you can actually look at stock which is specifically there for properties which have come back to the market. Right. Okay. Let's go at these features around how do you get access to the properties from vendors. Look, I mean, what we do as a platform, we actually been servicing investors in the past, investors and sources. And from last year, we started servicing estate agents and letting agents and helping them get more instructions, get more stock for them. And that's why basically when you come in here, it says letting agents and estate agents go here, investors go here. But nothing stops you with your sourcing business or somebody who's actually looking to grow really quickly to acquire these direct to vendor deals coming into our platform and actually going in this area. So we've basically kept it open for you to be able to get in touch with these vendors. And I'm going to show you an example, live example of how one of our clients has actually had a really good success with using our tools to get direct to vendor deals from motivated vendors, and he's been making some pretty nice returns. Right. So in the agents area or business area, if I would call it, so essentially this is more for sophisticated users where they want to get in touch with people directly. What you can actually do is you can identify the prospects, as in who is most likely looking to sell their property, where you actually focus your attention on, where you have the most chance of success, right? So over here, you actually have we have got split it into where you've got the ability to filter out and look through all of the market, and basically you can find motivated vendors depending on how big you are in terms of how many properties you can handle. You can choose which area you want to go. So this allows you access to the entire UK, so 29, 30 million properties. So it's almost like ability to find your dream home with your own criterias and actually look for that. However, I think what we're going to focus on is how can you actually find motivated vendors specifically and very, very quickly, right? Let's just go in here. What it does is it actually allows you to look through properties in any area. So anybody wants to give a postcode or outcode in the chat, I'm just going to try that. For keeping it quick, I may just go myself if there is one. Stevenage, can you actually give a outcode, please? I actually can't remember, although we work with all the postcodes all the time, but unfortunately don't remember all the postcodes. So SG1 2, is it? Yeah, okay, fine. So you can actually put a full postcode or outcode. However, we're gonna put the outcode because we don't care about a specific postcode. We are looking at all the properties in that area. You can, by the way, add multiple postcodes here. So I can also maybe just throw in one more. And you can specifically target properties with an agent, but from the purpose of investors and how a lot of our clients think, they don't really care about going after a certain agent's stock. They are saying, okay, I'm looking at the sale or a rental stock. And now this is the interesting part where you can actually look for the motivated vendor filters in terms of look for properties or almost like when you're going in an unconventional way, a lot of people might actually not be interested in doing business with you, right? So if you're going and talking to somebody, offering them a guaranteed rent income on the first week of them going live with the top agent in their area, it's not going to be very fruitful. I mean, the chances are they're going to say, no, we're happy with what we're doing, and also they're in a contract with that agent, for instance. So that's something also the case. So you can actually use this to add filters where they're approaching a certain timescale. So whether they're coming to an end of their single agency period or they've been on the market for a long, long time. So you can actually look for listed 4 days, and you can also look for price reductions when properties have failed to sell in or rent if you're looking for rental stock. So this works for both sales and rentals. And when you click find vendors now, so this goes into our database of millions of records and tries to see where we can actually find out. I haven't specified any conditions here just for the purpose of the demo. I wanted to see what the overall data set that comes back with. So this actually came back with quite a lot of results. So this came back with 3,046 results, which have the full property addresses of all the properties which are on the market. As you see, this is basically showing you almost the latest data, so even data from today. So you actually get access to all of that data. So what you can now do is basically start filtering it out. Let's just say if we are actually looking at price reductions and actually maybe look at vendors who came to the market and they wanted to sell their stock, but failed to sell the properties. So these are the people who actually came to the market, never managed to sell that property, and basically were interested and were let down by their agent or whoever was marketing at that point. And this is the technique used by estate agents for years and years, where they want to be trying to get these deals off you for properties which basically have been in there, and giving you the full addresses of these vendors who've been let down by their agents. And you can actually see they've been having price reductions, they've been on the market and never managed to sell. So this isn't stock which has been sold, this is basically stock which is unsold. And this is a great time to actually hit these people and say, look, I'm going to solve your problem. I'm going to give you instant cash offer, or I can actually give you a guaranteed rent income. And that allows you to get in touch with these people. Obviously, you can filter them out if you wanted to, and you can actually always look at, well, I already selected prior to deduction, but you can actually specify a certain area. I mean, because I searched for multiple areas, you can actually just use this as instant filtering if you wanted to. And you can download this list in an Excel, and how you can basically combine it. Over here, actually, I might throw this. Uh, I might throw this a use case where one of our clients, Simon. I'm not sure if I can is if he's still on the call, but hopefully he's okay with us sharing a little trick from for what he's doing. So one of our clients is a company called YourHomeisHere. Yep, I think Simon's here. So feel free to unmute yourself, Simon. Just thanks for joining us at short notice.
Yeah. Hi everybody. I'm on the phone. I'm joined by my daughter as well, my apprentice. So I've just walked in through the door. So I've been listening passively on mute. But yeah, no, I've been using the product for a little while, and seeing some good success with it.
Okay, thank you. Thanks. Sorry, Simon was put on spot. I only literally asked him to join in at 5:55, so full marks for him to join. But I'm happy to chat through, and any questions you guys can feel free to ping him. So what I basically did was, I mean, me and Simon had a chat few months ago now. So where basically he has basically they have a business in Hull where they essentially look to give you a cash offer for properties or people who are actually looking to sell quickly. And what Simon did was, and again, this is my version of it, feel free to correct me. Simon basically used the motivated vendor filters to identify people who were actually looking to sell and then send them some letters. And what I think he basically did some hit and try in terms of identifying what's the best sort of target audience for him using the tool, and allowed him to send some letters. And what we basically also have is a tool called Lead Magnet, which a few of our customers use and to great effect, where when you're sending a letter to people, we allow you to give you a QR code and a specific link which sends them to a place where they have a freebie, as in a lead magnet, and people can identify how much can they get as a cash offer. And this is just one use case, whether you're basically giving a cash offer or not. I mean, this is where YourHomeisHere website, where they've plugged in a PDI powered lead magnet. It can give them an instant property valuation. So the customer can come in here, they chuck in, uses our valuation engine internally to specifically select the property and fill in these details. And basically, as they do next, they actually see the valuation. I'm not going to send a lead to Simon because I don't want it to be using his account. But ultimately, what it does is it fires off an email to you as somebody receiving these incoming leads, and ultimately the client gets your branded lead coming in, and they can see a branded email coming from your side. All you do is within the platform, which I actually didn't show in the past, where basically within here you can actually configure your lead magnet. And apologies, I actually keep doing demos, so I have a lot of different clients whose lead magnets I keep showing. So this is actually all you do is you configure in here. Effectively, you put in YourHomeisHere logo, and that's basically it. It's a one-time setup. You can create a QR code, and anybody who scans this directly goes to the lead magnet page. So what that did was they got some really good deals. I think there were 3 or 4 deals which Simon managed to crack in the first 2 months, if I'm not wrong. And I think they had some pretty good returns on them. I'm not going to ask Simon to share his secret sauce, but I think the returns we were talking about, there were something like 30+%, 35% net ROI on these deals. And I think they've kind of had some really good success. So
no, that's right. Yeah, no, definitely. It's you have to sort of kiss a bunch of frogs, but what's good about this is that it cuts through the noise. So it puts you in touch with genuine, vendors that are motivated to sell for various different reasons. And yeah, we've got 3. We've closed. We've got 3 that are about to close. We've closed 1. But yeah, the cash, the return on cash employed figures are often sort of circa 30%. There's one that hasn't closed but is in the pipeline, which is significantly higher than that. Kind of like the kind of the golden goose type deals that come along every now and again. But yeah, it's been successful in a relatively short period of time. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So I think there's a question on how you get in touch with them. This is obviously, I think if you I'm sure most of you would have received a letter coming in through your door saying, oh, we are valuing properties in your area. We'd like to come in and speak to you. So the agents have been using these tricks for decades, basically. And what we've done with PDI is made it available for you guys. So effectively, you can use the platform, get full addresses of the vendors, and we don't want to give you any GDPR personal details. So essentially, what this allows you to do is get in touch with people, send them some letters, and if you're doing it in a proper filtered way, as we just showed, it does give you some really good results. And people, when they're coming back to you using the lead magnet, filling the form, they are actually giving you their own details themselves, and that allows them to tick off the privacy box. So essentially, you're always doing it in a compliant manner. And thanks, Simon. I think it's been really useful to be able to hear from your experience as well. And also, when you're actually giving them the right offer, effectively, when somebody's saying, okay, fine, I want you to buy my property, you can actually use the local comparisons and the valuation report I mentioned earlier, which basically allows you to be able to identify what else is happening in the market, so you know what offer you're giving to this guy. And also, I think one of the things is, I hope this is okay for you for us to share within here. Basically, there is a very good comparison, and in fact, we are being upfront. And I think this methodology is being used by a number of agents and sources in the country, where effectively you are saying upfront, look, we're going to give you a less price than what your market rate would be, but in the end, because we're giving you money quickly, and there's not all the other bells and whistles and then hidden charges which are going to be thrown at you, overall you're going to be there or thereabouts, which allows you to actually negotiate a below market value rate. And obviously it depends on the desperate vendor, and you may kind of come across some which may not agree to what you're offering. However, as Simon mentioned, they've kind of on the fourth deal, and I don't know, it's 3 months or so, 3.5 months is all kind of Simon's been with us. And I guess if he wanted, he can actually even increase the number of leads he generates. But I think that's kind of where once you start using the system, we kind of work with you, also try and understand how you're operating, and basically what if we can suggest any tweaks, we do. But then if you want to carry on working on your own, you can use it as well. Right. Okay, I think the good news is you can all, whether you are on the platform or not, you can actually start your free trial and get access to this. And we do not, like a lot of other platforms, restrict the good stuff for only paying customers. So within your trial, you can actually play with this and try and identify how this works. And if you have any questions, we can help you with that. And before your free trial ends, you can then choose whether or not this is too sort of sophisticated for you or not, and you can switch down to a lower package. So hopefully this has been useful. I'm kind of going to try and jump quickly. There's also, I think I mentioned what else I wanted to share? Just 1 second. Yeah, so within the lead magnet as well, I was actually talking about earlier. So it's pretty simple, bog standard. If you have a website, great. If you don't have a website, then also it's fine. So you can actually literally come in here, configure your lead magnet, and basically get an add to website snippet. So if you have a website, you can literally do a copy paste job, and boom, it's there and showing on your website. If you actually don't have a website, you can use this direct dedicated link, which will be basically showing that lead, basically sending traffic to your business, and any leads which are filled in here are automatically your leads. So you will be the one getting all of those leads coming in, and anybody who's actually receiving it, because a lot of times you're an individuals and looking to grow but haven't yet put in the money to focus on websites. And some of our customers use it on Facebook pages. I've actually got Kwame, who's also joined us. They've actually put in here as a simple instant valuation button. So they've kind of a combination of a lettings and estate agents and also a property sourcing business. And they've simply put a get instant valuation button, which sends them to their lead magnet page, which basically brings in leads to them. Right. Right. Okay. Hopefully, I think I've kind of answered some of these questions. We also have other ways of how you can actually look for specific properties which are off market and how you can actually get in touch with these vendors. But I think, conscious of time, I want to give you guys some time to ask questions. And also, a lot of times people are confused about the packages, so I'm going to try and keep that open here. So if you have any questions, I think my sales team spend most of the time trying to explain to people the differences between the different plans and what you can and cannot do. So I think it would be something I'm going to be happy to share. Also, sorry, I just wanted to take a moment to thank Simon for coming in, and anybody who's actually looking to do business in the Hull area, has any property to sell in there, feel free to get in touch with them. They've been really great client of ours, and I think I'd definitely recommend them if you are looking for a sourcer who can actually help you and work with. So yeah, definitely recommend working and speaking to Simon. Right. Okay, so we're basically going to be looking at the pricing. So we have different plans. You have the investor plans, starts as low as £99 per annum. So this gives you access to Deal Finder and heat maps and some other calculators. You can't get full addresses of vendors, PDF downloads, valuations, etc. If you wanted to get some access to that, you can actually use the gold and premium plans, which allow you to also white label the reports which you share. So it kind of saves you a lot of headache, and you can create your own deal packs. If you want access to the heavy lifting stuff, which we just showed in terms of being able to do things in bulk. So if you want to be growing quickly, basically, then these are the plans which you can use. You can have it on a yearly or a monthly option, which the good thing is you don't have to make a commitment when you're starting. And this is obviously for people who are not already our members. And you basically can actually come in here, decide, pick a plan, use the platform for within your 14 days. It's a 14-day free trial when you're starting. Then while you're in your trial, you can switch the plans around. So we say, why not try out the higher plan, see all the features, see if it's something for you. If it's not, then you can always switch to the lower plan before your end of trial. And I promised a promo code for this demo. So you can actually use the promo code NA20 off. And if you press the submit button in here, you will be getting a 20% discount on our plans. So the premium plan, which actually is $199 on an yearly basis, comes down to $133.26 per month, and the gold plan, which is usually $149 in plus VAT in monthly basis, it actually on an yearly one comes out at 99. So it's quite a decent saving if you are serious about it and want to avail this offer. So you can feel free, and this actually is available for the lifetime of your subscription. Right. Now I'm going to try and quickly go through some questions, and I would be happy for you guys to unmute yourself and ask any questions you have. I know there's one or two questions here for Simon. So Simon, you're a popular man. I think I'll let you address those questions. So wondering if downward market, agents are able to sell, how do we sell the house to get our own ROI? Oh yeah, I think you already answered it. So basically, I was going to say essentially. Oh yeah, I think Simon, go on. You feel free to answer your question. It's get to you.
Yeah, I think the thing to mention on this, like the valuation, I've been very impressed with the valuation tool. I know the Hull area particularly well, and I know various other areas particularly well. I wouldn't say I know the whole of the UK, obviously, but benchmarking the values that have come back from the PDI tool versus what I personally know specific areas to be valued at, it's very accurate. And that's right the way across the scale from £50,000 properties right up to $1 million plus. I've sort of tested it and put it to test. So it's definitely it's definitely the most accurate tool that I've used. And it's interesting when you do compare it to Zoopla, there is differences, but I think Zoopla, if I'm right in saying, kind of the tool, their valuation tool is calculated using list prices, listing prices quite predominantly versus actually sold prices. So I think with that in mind, you can rely on the valuation tool to guide to guide the offers that you should be putting in on properties. So yeah, the valuation tool plus one's own knowledge of a particular area is the best way I've found to put in offers that mean that you're buying right, and then that leaves you with the headroom to factor in your ROI later down the line, whether that's to buy and flip or buy and hold and rent out.
Yeah, thanks, Simon. I think that's pretty spot on, actually. So, as I mentioned, I mean, I think one of the key things from PDI as a platform is our valuations are kind of key to our overall analysis, because at the end of the day, when we do provide you analysis, it is all kind of underpinning on the quality of data we have, and we've got our teams are always working hard around the clock, and they get a lot of stick from me to make sure the data is accurate, and we try and keep it all up to date. And also we give you factual comparatives as well, so it's not just about because the number came out of the machine, and although we pride ourselves that these are absolutely accurate valuations, but at the end of the day it's your money, so you can actually also look at the actual comparables, which are facts, so you can look and make those choices. So it's not just that a number came out and that's it, but you also have the full-blown comparable analysis which goes with it, and that allows you to act confidently, which is, I think, the key. And it's all about empowering our users, our customers, and giving them the edge on everybody else. I think there's a question on how do you find off-market deals. I think it's kind of defined in terms of what do you actually mean by off-market deals. So the stock which is not available in the market, and you're getting in touch with these vendors and getting access to them direct to vendor, because I think that's more important. Whether it's an off-market or not off-market isn't really always the question. It's all about, can I actually, for instance, get access to something which not everybody else will get, or can I actually get in a relationship with a vendor directly so that I can save on some agency fees or any other discounts which I can negotiate. So that's the key thing on how you would define. There's like a off-market tool as well, where you can actually go after people who are never on the market, but then the chances of them being motivated enough are going to be less. So effectively that is there. However, that's generally used by agents predominantly, where they're going after the whole of market and they just want any property and every property because they just want to market it anyways. However, for our investor or source of customers, they're generally looking for people where they can get them at a discounted price, or where they can actually find motivated vendors who can actually be looking to act. So hopefully that answers your question. Right. I'm just going quickly through all the other questions. If you have any questions, feel free, guys, to unmute yourself. I know, John, your hand was up. I'm not sure if it was from previously or now, but if you want to ask any question, feel free to ask.
Quick question on the pricing.
Yes.
It's got there so many agents, so many investors. It talks about credits. What does a credit mean? What does that equate to?
I'm really glad you asked that question. I'm so sorry I forgot about that, because that's actually one of the most confusing things I was earlier mentioning. So we try and obviously be fair. I mean, you can never get it 100% right because everybody likes to do it differently. However, what it is we basically, every time you're searching, for instance, I showed you the searches on Deal Finder, which gave you 100 results. And even when we were doing valuations and everything. So these are basically, every time you search, you spend 1 credit. So the 100 deals which you saw in Deal Finder results, it's only going to cost you 1 credit, 1 investor credit. So more or less, you can see things which are showing up in this area are basically going to use investor credit. Some of these heat maps, etc., are free, so you don't actually spend any credits over there. For agent features like appraisal report, which is a heavy lifting kind of report, you spend 1 credit for getting a full-blown report for a property. And when you're trying to get these or motivated vendors, so one search uses one credit. Most of the places wherever you use one credit, it basically says it. For instance, it will sort of say it costs one agent credit, it costs one investor
Right,
credit.
okay.
So you will see that over there. I mean, that's basically allows you to decide which way you go. The way our agent plans or business plans basically are done is these plans are all encompassing. So effectively, they have all the features which a equivalent investor plan has, but they have all the extra sophisticated features for you to grow quickly. And if you go to investor plans, you more or less with investor credits, and in some cases you get a little bit of like agent credits, which kind of only takes you so far. But the whole point is like if you never want some of those sophisticated features, you can sort of use the platform with the investor credits, which is more than enough. However, if you want to be I mean, getting returns, which Simon mentioned, some really, in some ways, I feel a little bit jealous on that as well. So I think we need to be utilizing our platform as well as Simon is doing. But I think I'm really glad that they're doing really well. So that those kind of things, obviously, you use it with the agent credit. So that's how it works. I mean, we've obviously listed them in here, and I said you can actually um, wherever it's you're spending the credits. I believe everywhere it actually is mentioned. So hopefully that should not be so difficult to understand.
Thank you.
Right. And by the way, you get 2 months free when you are going on the yearly plan. So effectively, if you're going monthly, there was a question on monthly pricing versus yearly. So yes, these prices are per calendar month for agent plans. For investment plans, we only have yearly plans. So you can actually look at these prices and yearly plans. So you can use the code today if you wanted to get the extra 20% off. And basically also benefit from the additional 2 months free yearly thing, which normally we don't let you combine, but for any people who's given their precious time today, so we would like to try and give them something extra. Right. Sab, I know you speak to a lot of questions and sorry, a lot of customers and have a lot of questions. Anything in particular you think I may have missed and some of the customers have been asking for?
Well, I think we pretty much covered everything. I like how you mentioned the in-depth pricing plans, since that's a question a lot of you guys ask. But can you explain more about the credit system? Because a lot of the customers always come up to me and ask, like, what exactly are agent credits versus what are investor credits? If you can differentiate between that.
So I think that was just what John's question was. So we just like covered it. But I mean, I think the credits are effectively used for each of the searches. And as I mentioned, for appraisal reports, for lead magnet, for on and off market prospecting, you use agent credits. And things like deal finder or PDF downloads, you use investor credits, and deal packs uses agent credits, but a lot of tools are also free. So anybody who's not having on any plans, you can still use a number of tools like buy to let calculators and stuff like that. But actually, another important thing which I forgot to mention almost is sometimes because we so much on the platform, people can actually be confused. You can actually come into the tutorials area, and we've basically created tutorials area where you can actually identify how can you use the platform. So there are step-by-step guides and videos, etc.
Yeah.
And then also you can actually go to our YouTube channel where you have previous webinar recordings and also some specific items on how this works in a certain scenario, etc. I see Chris has a hand raised. Please feel free to go for it. Chris, I think you wanted to ask a question. No? Okay, no problem. So I think Manish, you asked about like investor versus agent plans. I think there is a fair amount of detail on that page, which kind of shows you the tick boxes in terms of what it is covering and what it doesn't. And that's essentially the detail. But if you have any specific question, feel free to share and ask. Also, for anybody who's not aware, and when you're using the platform, if you are confused, feel free to click this chat thingy here chat bubble, and you can type in your question. It also allows you to paste a screenshot for any screens you're stuck at. And you can always ask a question on how to do a certain thing. So we try and come back to you as soon as possible. But that's kind of a great way of people who are successfully using. I think Simon's been keeping us awake initially when he started using the platform, asking some of the questions in there. And yeah, obviously we try and address them.